Hey, welcome back to First Time Feast. I'm your host, Bobby Perko. Today we're making hot wings. So I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you the professional tips and tricks and how to make the most perfect, delicious, crispy hot wing every single time. If there is time later, we're going to show you how to make a quick homemade ranch dressing because you can't have wings without some ranch dressing. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to identify the parts of the wing and we're going to break it down and show you how to do it. So pro tip, when you go to the grocery store and you go looking for your hot wings because you know you got that fix, you got that craving you got to do, buy them in a whole wing, guys. It's going to save you so much money. I picked up a huge pack of like 30 wings, which really equates to being like 60 wings for about $20. Okay, that sounds like a lot, but if you go to like a Buffalo Wild Wings or your local wing joint, you're going to spend like 15, 20 bucks just on a dozen. Okay, so we got ourselves a whole wing here. So to identify the wing, we're going to have our drumette. Okay, you know that as the drum. Then you're going to have your flat, and then you're going to have the tip. Okay, so the tip there's not a whole lot of meat on it. There's not a whole lot going on there, but don't throw these away. Throw them in a bag, throw them in your freezer, because next time you want to make some really good chicken stock, you can go ahead and throw these in, cook those down with some nice vegetables, and make a really, really good stock. Okay, so first thing we're going to want to do, we're going to want to break down all of our wings and get them separated. Okay, so get your knife. Easiest part, so if you're looking at this and you're finding it, you're going to see there's a joint that's going to run right here. So hopefully you have a really sharp knife. You're going to put that knife right on the middle of that joint, and you're going to slice right through there, and it comes off very, very simple. Okay, so set those aside, and you're going to do the exact same thing with the drum and the flat. You're going to want to find that joint, put your knife right there on the middle, and it should come across really easy or a huge struggle. There we go. Okay, so we got those separated. So we're going to go ahead and set aside our tips, and we're just going to start breaking these down, guys, okay? All right, so easiest thing is when you can find the actual joint. It makes it really, really simple to break down. If you don't find the joint, you're going to struggle just like I did a minute ago. So I like to turn them so they're almost upside down. You can more or less feel where that joint is with your finger and put that in there and slice right through, just pretty easy. Same thing with the tip here. Find that joint, put the knife right in the center of it, and it'll slide right through. Okay, so we got these guys going here. This guy, same story. Break her down, break her down. So just pretty quickly, you can make, honestly, really fast work of all of this. It's not that difficult to do. Okay, so this one's right there. If you miss, then you just hit it with your knife and you break it down. All right. Couple more, we're almost done. Find that joint, where is it at? This one's hiding from me. I think it's right there. All right, yeah, when you find it, it makes it way, way, way easier, guys. Okay, should be right there. And this one, where's she hiding at? All right. All right, so just like that, let's count them out real quick. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 wings, right? And that only took us approximately 2 minutes. So not a lot of time has passed, okay? So now what we're going to want to do, we're going to want to dry off our hands, wash our hands down, and we're going to move on to the next step, okay? So follow me over here. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to evenly distribute. Get rid of those here. You're going to want to evenly distribute your wings out. So you're going to want to separate every single one of them, get them to where they can have some space in between them, right? And at this point, once you get them all set aside, you're going to want to take a paper towel and you're just going to want to dry them off. Because when you're dealing with really, really smoking hot oil, oil likes to pop, it likes to hiss, likes to bubble at you. It's kind of a fire hazard. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get these wings as dry as possible. Okay. So we got those all done. Now, next thing that we're gonna wanna do, we're gonna wanna get our oil screaming hot. So for this, I'm just gonna be using a pure canola oil. You can use vegetable oil, peanut oil, really whatever type of oil you like. For today, we're just gonna be using some pure canola. So we're gonna get our heat brought up to a high temp. And we're gonna go, we wanna pour this in roughly 2 to 3 inches. And as we add more volume to the pot, the oil is gonna rise, so you don't have to worry about it being completely submerged. But I believe we're just gonna end up going with the whole bottle for this because it is a rather large pot. You can control the volume of your pot by simply the size of pot that you're gonna be using. So if you don't have that much oil, try to fry in a smaller pan. It's gonna help you out a little bit more. Okay, so we're done with that. We're gonna set that aside. We're gonna let our heat come up to temp here. It'll give us about a couple of minutes. So we'll transition back to our wings. So what you can do, there's a couple of things that I like to do when I'm making wings. So if I want to impress my guests and just go all out with some really delicious hot wings, you want to give yourself a little bit of planning and you want to give yourself at least 1 day in advance. Okay, so after we got our wings broken down, if you want to do like a dry brine, you could go ahead and season these now with just some salt, pepper, garlic powder, leave it at that. And what that's going to do, all that salt is going to suck out all that moisture. You're going to want to leave these in your fridge uncovered. Okay, a lot of times when you're putting stuff in the fridge, you're going to want to cover it up so that way it doesn't get the air to it. But in this case, we would want to have the air get to it so that it really dries out that skin. It gets it really, really tacked out. All the moisture leaves it. And so that way when it hits your oil, it fries really, really crisp and it leaves you a delicious wing every single time. Okay, so today we're going to go ahead, we're going to let these dry. We're going to go ahead and put them in the refrigerator for 24 hours. And we're going to come back and we're going to fry them. All right, so we are back. So it's been a day. Let the wings sit up in the fridge overnight. They are all dry now. So we're gonna go ahead and get these tossed in our fryer. So we got our fryer up to 350 degrees, and we're gonna cook these wings for approximately 4 to 5 minutes until they reach a nice golden brown color, okay? All right, and we're back. So it's been about 12 hours. We went ahead and let our chicken set in the fridge overnight. It's a lot drier now. The skin's gonna be a little bit more tacky. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna go ahead and fry this on about 350 to 375 degrees. We're gonna do it in batches. We don't wanna overflow our fryer here. So we're gonna let these fry and we're gonna move on to the next step here. All right, so guys, when you're working on frying chicken or anything for that matter, oil is one of the scariest things that you can be working with in your kitchen. If you do it improperly, you can basically limit yourself or allow yourself to be susceptible to a house fire or a kitchen fire. So when you're doing this, or even just burn yourself, right? Worst case scenario, you could end up with some burns. So when you're doing this, don't drop your chicken from like up high. It's gonna splash, it's gonna cause a big mess, it's gonna potentially hurt you. Some people have a fear of hot oil. It's okay, right? It's not gonna be the end of the world. So when you're putting this in there, I wanna go really close to the oil, and when you drop it in, you wanna drop it away from you, okay? So when you drop it away from you, if it does splash at all, it's gonna splash outward instead of in your face, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set in a few pieces of chicken at a time until we run out of real estate here, okay? Also, when you're doing this, try to get them separated. You don't wanna put them right on top of each other, at least to begin with. Once you kinda start running out of space, then you can start stacking them up. All right, so we're gonna stop here. This is roughly half the batch. Knock that guy in there. Okay, so we got our chicken in. We're gonna set our timer. We're gonna let this guy cook for roughly the next 3 to 5 minutes. We're gonna check on them periodically. Really what we're looking for here is we're looking for the color, okay? So poultry, chicken, it needs to be cooked to an internal temperature of 165 degrees. When they're in this hot oil, it really doesn't take that much time to reach that temperature. If you overcrowd, let's say we threw all of those chicken in there at the same time, that's gonna make your temperature and the oil drop, which is gonna increase cook time, making it take even longer. So right now we're cooking at approximately 8 pieces of chicken, so it shouldn't take more than about 3 to 4 minutes to get this done, okay? and just periodically give them a little bit of a stir, because what we don't want to have happen is we don't want them to stick to the bottom of the skillet or the bottom of the pan, because then it makes it a lot harder to remove and fish out of here. Okay, so while we have our first batch of wings cooking, what we're gonna do, we're gonna start getting our stovetop hot, because we're gonna start working on our first level of sauce. Okay. So we're just gonna bring our temperature up. Today, so I'm gonna be doing a couple of different things for you. I'm gonna be making my personal favorite. I'm gonna be doing my version of garlic parmesan, okay? Garlic parmesan is one of those sauces that's really, really good, really delicious, and it's really easy to make. I'm gonna do some garlic parmesan made out of some really simple household items that just about everyone's gonna have and make it really delicious right on hand, okay? So first thing we're gonna wanna do, get a stick of butter. For this, you can use the whole stick if you want to, but I'm gonna really use about half of a stick of butter. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this stick of butter, and we're gonna go ahead and just rip it here and toss this stick right in, okay? While that's going, we're gonna let this reduce down, and we're gonna go ahead and season this. This is gonna be very simple, very quick, very easy, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna season this with some garlic powder. We're gonna go ahead and add this in early, so that way the sauce or these seasonings can kind of aeromate. They're gonna kind of not burn, but they're gonna release some extra flavor. I like to add a little bit of red pepper flakes to my garlic parm. Not a lot, more or less, if anything, it's just for the color aspect. And then lastly, we are gonna go ahead and add some parsley flakes. If you have fresh parsley, it looks better, but we just have our simple parsley. And we're gonna add our Parmesan at the end because we don't want it to burn, okay? So we're just gonna give this a quick little bit of a stir, and then we're going to check on our chicken. For this sauce, you don't want to bring it on a high heat. You actually want to cook it as low as you possibly can. We're simply just trying to melt the butter and aeromate our seasonings there. Okay, so let's check over on our chicken. They're starting to get a little bit golden. They're kind of starting to cook. They're definitely going to be raw still. They're going to need another couple of minutes. Okay. So let's look at our butter or our sauce here. Starting to smell really, really nice. Sauce is almost done. So we're gonna go ahead and add about one whole tablespoon of some Parmesan. Okay. And then we're gonna wanna go ahead with our little bit of our salt. And we're gonna give that a nice little stir. So we're just gonna go ahead and set that aside for when these wings are finished. Okay. So these wings are just about done. They're just sizzling and popping away. So we're gonna set this aside. Set this aside. And let's go ahead and get started on our dry rub seasoning. So for this is gonna be my dry rub, my Cajun lemon pepper sauce, or my Cajun lemon pepper dry rub. So for this, you're gonna need let's go ahead with a half teaspoon of the following ingredients. So we're gonna go with some lemon pepper. Okay, so we're gonna go with some lemon pepper. We're gonna go with some garlic powder. We're gonna go with some cayenne. We're gonna go with some paprika. Maybe. And we're gonna go with some onion powder. Okay, so we got a nice little blend of spices here. So what we're gonna wanna do, we're gonna wanna pull these wings out of here. Make sure they're nice and cooked here. So we're gonna go ahead and pull these wings out. We're gonna wanna get them set on some paper towels, and then that way they can kind of dry off and cool off a little bit. And what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna do a double fry on this and give a really nice crispy finish. So we're gonna set our paper towels down, and we're gonna go ahead and start fishing these out and get our next batch in cooking. Let them kind of drain out a little bit. So they're not as golden as you want them to be yet, because we're gonna still let them go for another batch after we crank up our heat and let it go for the second time. Scoop them on out. Okay. Now these are gonna have a really nice crispy skin, but we can get them even better. Okay, so we got this one out. This is the last one. This one actually probably looks the best right now. We're gonna set that aside, and then we're gonna go ahead and toss in our last of our first batch here. All right, so we got our first batch of wings cooking. We got this one set aside. It's gonna go ahead and sit there for the remainder of the time while our remaining 6 wings are cooking. Once these are done, we're gonna throw them back in at a 400-degree temperature. We're gonna bring them up to a really high temp. That's gonna give them a really nice crispy crust. Then we're gonna pull them out, and then we're gonna go ahead and hit them with the sauce. But we can't have our wings without some homemade ranch dressing. So what we're gonna do real quick, we're gonna get ourselves a nice little bowl, and we're gonna work on some homemade ranch dressing. So this is really, really simple. You only need a couple of ingredients for this, guys. So you should have these in your cupboards at home, in your refrigerator at home. Really, really simple. So you can make it a more elaborate ranch dressing if you have more ingredients, but I'm just simply making some stuff that everybody should have in their household at any given point. Okay, so for this, what we're gonna do, in a bowl, you're gonna wanna go with a half a cup of mayonnaise. So we're gonna do our best approximation here. So we're looking for a half a cup of mayonnaise, and then we're gonna be looking for about a quarter cup of sour cream. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and add our sour cream. Then what you're gonna wanna do, hit it with your garlic powder. We're looking for about a half of a teaspoon of garlic powder. We're just gonna eyeball all of this, guys. So we're gonna go with our garlic powder, and then you're gonna wanna follow that up roughly with some onion powder, okay? Roughly the same amount of measurements, we're gonna go with a half a teaspoon. So we're gonna add that in there. And then we're gonna want to go with some dill weed, okay? Fresh dill weed makes it a lot better, but we don't have any fresh dill. For this, we're gonna double it. We're gonna go with 1 whole teaspoon. So we're gonna go with a good amount of dill, okay? And then if you have some salt and pepper, you gotta hit it with your S&P, okay? So we're gonna go ahead with just a little bit of salt. I am missing my pepper today, but that's completely fine. So we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna give this a little bit of a stir. Okay. And then to finish it off, if you had some chives or some parsley, you can add some chives or parsley. I have a little bit of parsley here, so we're just gonna add a dash of parsley, and we're gonna mix this back up. And once this is done, we're gonna go ahead and set this aside and we're gonna finish off our wings. Okay, so we're gonna set our ranch dressing aside real quick. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and pull this second batch of wings. All right. So these are already looking really good, guys. You could eat them right now. They're totally edible, but we're going for like the all-time best crust on these. So we're gonna make this really, really good. Okay, so we're gonna let that cool off. Ideally, when you do this, the best course of action is to fry your batch, let them sit aside, and you're gonna wanna let them either get to room temperature before you go ahead and throw them in the double batch. So we're gonna go ahead and wait 20 minutes, and then we're gonna toss them in the fryer at 400 degrees. All right, so we're back. It's been 20 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and take our wings. We're gonna throw them in our oil at 400 degrees. We're gonna really, really nice and crisp. Then we're gonna pull them up and we're gonna sauce them. Let's get it. All right, so go ahead. We're just gonna toss these in. There should be a lot less bubbling action going on this time just because there's not that much moisture in these wings. So this time we are gonna go ahead and overcrowd. Woo. It's firing at me. Back up, Terry. All right, so popping these guys in there. We're almost done, 4 more to go. All right, so now set the timer on this, guys. We're really only gonna be cooking this for another 1 to 2 minute max because our oil is screaming hot. It is ready to go. These wings are gonna go from mediocre, okay wings to just the most crisp, delicious wings you ever had in your life. And then we're gonna toss them out of here and we're gonna get our sauces rolling, all right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna kind of separate this and do 2 different things. So I'm gonna have a bowl for half of my wings, then I'm gonna have a bowl for the other half of my wings. So we're gonna give them sauced up and ready to rock, okay? So we're gonna try to evenly distribute this. One thing that I'm gonna do, I didn't really like the way that my garlic Parmesan sauce turned out, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw in my stick of butter here, the remainder of the stick of butter, and we're almost gonna remake this. This is a really simple way of making these wings at the house, or the sauce at the house, if you don't have a stovetop or you don't wanna make the mess of putting it on a stovetop. So we're gonna go ahead and throw in our parsley real quick. We're gonna hit it with our garlic powder, and then we're gonna go ahead and hit it with our, what am I missing? Salt. And finally, we are going to hit it with our Parmesan without dropping everything on the floor. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and take these wings on out and we're gonna kind of alternate the bowls here. They're gonna be nice and crispy. The heat is off. Look at the color on these wings, guys. They're gonna be looking a lot better. These are beautiful. They're gonna be unbelievably crispy, unbelievably delicious. These are gonna be some of the best wings you've ever had. Can't forget about my Cajun lemon pepper wings. More into garlic parm. This golden color on these is just unbelievable, guys. These are gonna be so dang good. All right, we're about 50-50 split. Let's do one in here if I can help it. Perfect, the other in here. So now that these are nice screaming hot, we're gonna take our dry seasoning from earlier and we're gonna cover these wings, and then we're just gonna give them a little bit of a toss, okay? Just give them a little bit of a shake around. Get them everything nice and coated. If you feel like you don't have enough, go ahead and grab your seasonings from earlier and just give them a little shake. It's not gonna hurt anything. Just, if you go over on seasoning, you are perfectly fine. If you throw it all over the kitchen counter, you're also perfectly fine. You should see my house. I cook like a madman. So we got those completely covered. And now we're gonna go ahead and do our garlic parmesan. We're gonna go ahead and give these a nice little sauce toss. Mix them around, get that butter nice and melted, get everything all coated here. These are gonna be freaking delicious, guys. I can tell you that right now. As the bottom of this pan is kind of, as that butter starting to melt, you're starting to see that garlic parmesan starting to form and it's starting to just make a delicious ooey gooey emulsion. And these wings are gonna be freaking delicious. So we're just gonna go ahead, plate these up, try it with our homemade ranch, and get after it. Okay, let's go ahead and plate these guys up. Our ranch dressing. Ranch right on the side there. Then we're going to go ahead and get our wings all nice and decorated around this plate here. These are so crispy, holy crap. These are going to be so good. If you ever eat at Wingstop, this is basically their Cajun dry rub, for those of you that like those. I love them. They're my all-time fave. So I had to obviously replicate the recipe at the house. So these garlic parmesan, if you think Buffalo Wild Wings is good, it ain't got nothing on these. I'm telling you that right now. Perfect, guys. Go ahead and scrape off a little bit of that sauce. Go ahead and finish it off. Absolutely beautiful. Delicious. All right, there you have it. That's how you do wings at home. It is really simple, really easy. We're gonna go ahead and do that double fry method, get some extra crispy every single time. Showed you how to make a homemade ranch dressing with a Louisiana dry rub sauce and a homemade garlic parmesan. Thanks for watching First Time Feast. If there's anything you want to reach out, everything that you want to see, reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, social media. I got you. Thanks for watching. Peace.